Good morning, YouTube. It's Keen again. Today I wanted to make a quick video talking about the patch notes for pretty much like the first, you could debate if it's major or not. Personally, I think there's enough changes in this for it to be a game changer for patch 1.2.0 of Splatoon 3, which is going to come out very soon. So I'm basically going to go through the patch notes, my thoughts, all that kind of stuff, because there's more in here that some people really initially led on, so I want to just go through it and, it's a fun thing to just talk about this, so, just speeding through it for some of the simpler stuff, adding amiibo support, that's fine, improvements on transferring data, that's whatever. Big thing is that, they mentioned here changes to communication. Users can expect to see a reduction in the time it takes from a player being dealt damage to them to being defeated. Basically, they're going to improve the netcode, which is a huge thing, and probably the biggest thing to come out of this patch quality of life-wise, and it also says touching golden eggs and code. Basically anything like netcode related, it's being improved slightly, which is amazing to see. You love to see it. So that's really exciting. That alone just, makes me want to play it more. As for actual sub-weapon and main weapon changes, there are no main weapon changes, but for Fizzy Bomb specifically, they changed it so they increase the time it takes to start recovering ink, which is more white ink, so it's more downtime, so it's less spammable. That's a good change, honestly. I still think LDE giving you double Fizzy Bomb shouldn't be a thing, but this is a good change, and it encourages you to actually interact with your fizzies as opposed to just sitting back and getting a ton of mileage and farming your special safely. So that's good. I like that change. And for the cost of specials for weapons, only 3 of them got adjusted. Flingza, Reflux are both missile spammers, so they went from 200 to 210. It's good. It's a good change. And Machine went from 200 to 210 as well, which is fine, because that weapon has seen a lot of usage in the early days of S3. That's fine. A lot of people are underwhelmed. They're like, only 210, or, they expect all these crazy hardcore nerfs. Honestly, I'm fine with this. This is just minor adjustments. I expect more intense changes for when the season changes toward the end of November. That's when I expect big changes. But this patch has a couple of good changes. I agree with all of this. I think all of these changes are good, which is good. I'd rather have fewer changes, but they're good changes, than a ton of changes and I find them bad, So personally, I like this. There's a lot of quality of life, and there's actually, balance changes beyond this that will affect the game in a lot of ways, Changes Splatfest, nothing big. Other changes, nothing too crazy. Improve the efficiency of matchmaking, sure. And they also mentioned this update focuses on adjusting some weapons, improving several features, and fixing bugs that relate to battles. We've implemented several adjustments to curtail, to a certain extent, the style of play where the player stays far removed from the action, continuously uses sub-weapons or special weapons. They're basically saying, hey, this patch is for you if you're sitting in the back just spamming missile and spamming fizzy. Is for you, and that's good. I always liked when developers have transparency and they kind of, give you the idea of what their intent with the patch was, and they never really did that for Splatoon 2, so this is good. I would honestly like to see text like this in the future. It's really, really good. In addition, we reduce the amount of time matchmaking takes for certain modes, reduce battle latency, that one's huge, small convenience improvements to the lobby, and more. Also good. Next update will focus on new features for the season beginning in December, so first major, well, not first major, but the next major patch is in a month or so, give or take, because I'm recording this at the end of October. Weapon balance changes, so again, expect that then. And changes to tricolor. Sure. Bug fixes. Bug fixes. There's a lot of these. I'm just gonna skim through them and see if anything sticks out to me. Okay. Yeah, fix an issue where super jumping to a distant location, attacking before landing would cause shots to travel farther than intended. If you've been around Twitter, you probably saw this, a clip, or multiple clips of, range blasters jumping in, and they'll land in one spot, and then they'll shoot their shot midair before they land, and they hit some guy who's, actually 50 feet away from them, so I guess that's for that. Bug Remain Saber wasn't working if you track stick with brush, fine. Fix an issue where it's easier to interrupt. Not sure. Reading through these. Honestly, yeah, I've never even played a scope charger in this game, so this one I wouldn't even notice. Fix an issue with slashers where the weapons use sound effect, but not be played correctly when attacking immediately after a link is shown. Okay, I guess audio bug. This one's funny to me. Fix an issue with blob where some of the blobs would not be lobbed. That's just a sentence and a half, honestly. When used while submersion aiming upwards. So if you're sharking with blob and aiming your camera up for some reason, it wouldn't work correctly, and it's such a specific thing. This one's big. I saw, Japanese ballpoints talking about this. Fixed an issue where ballpoint were firing at long range where the variation in the speed of the ink fired was greater than intended. Basically, the way fall-off worked with ballpoint was weird in this game. It was different than 2. Apparently, I'm assuming this just brings it back to how it was in 2, so that's all fine and dandy. Glue I never really played, so I can't really comment on that. This one's big. Fixed an issue with tent. Where the hit detection is farther forward than intended. Yeah, you saw clips of people getting hit through shield on their screen, that kind of thing, and even on the enemy screen. So hopefully that makes tent like kind of functional at least. That's a big one. I was surprised I didn't change it in the last patch, so that's good. I'll try. I don't know. We'll see. Fixed an issue with Splatoon where the width inked would be larger than intended depending on the number of swings. I heard something about that. I didn't know the specifics, but yeah, someone was telling me in my Twitch chat about that. Fixed an issue where certain control inputs with the Splatoon step request for result slashes to be repeated faster than intended. That's basically the video I had before where I said, like, here's how to do the hyperspeed glitch with stamp. I think they fully took it out of the patch, or in this patch finally, so. Am I surprised? No. Am I kind of sad to see it gone? Yeah, a little bit, but, fine. Fair. And apparently there was a bug with Zipcaster where you could use your main weapon while moving. I've never seen this, but sure, why not? And fixes the multiplayer. There are a lot of things in here. And again, like, it might sound like it's a ton of bug fixes. It is, but we'll get to the Ultra Stamp bit, which is like what I really want to talk about. Issue where inking certain terrain would award more points than intended, sure. Walls on some stages will charge special gauge. Weird, never had that instance. Fix an issue where some objects on stage will not be applied toward inked area and turf, or I guess the opposite of that as well. Fix an issue where blaster shots or produce a shockwave when hitting a cooler or a stamp. The fact that if you could hit a stamp and it would do that is crazy to me. Basically, it means like you could hit your blaster shot directly on the cooler and it would still like do the explosion, like instead of sparking, I guess. That's weird. That's very weird. Fix an issue where rolls would ink surfaces they weren't touching when rolling in a way that clips onto certain terrain. Honestly, I feel like I've seen that for a while. I don't know how extreme that gets, but sure. Here's a big one. Balance-wise, fix an issue where slashing machines spiral would deal damage when hitting an opponent on the other side of the terrain, even when they were hitting. Basically, it was like that one. Actually, not even that one. It was like a day. There was one day on Twitter where everyone was just, spamming clips of machine like, oh, it's shooting through the floor in Undertow, it's shooting through the floor in Sturgeon, doing all these things. So it's basically bug fixing that, which is good. Because machine is a very strong weapon, but like that's just like a game-breaking bug, And then there was, an ink back issue with that as well. Machine could also shoot through splash walls, so I'm assuming this one fixes that. Fixed an issue where a bomb would remain in its location when hitting umbrella at the moment it closes regardless of damage dealt to the umbrella. Yeah, I've seen this one myself. It's pretty much like there's a bomb on the floor, you open umbrella to, eat the bomb, but then the bomb doesn't actually disappear. So then the umbrella gets hit. The bomb is still there. It's really dumb. So that's good. Fix an issue with Splatoon when in close contact with the tower. Ink would disappear. That I've not seen. That's weird. Fix an issue of response would disappear. I've seen a lot of that in 2, honestly. I think I don't know like how prevalent this was, but I mean it's good. Same deal with poison or mist. For some reason, with stamp. Fix an issue where wall would immediately disappear if placed in a certain location. Sure. Booyah Bomb paint not working correctly. That was a big one. I know for one of the Japanese tournaments, I think they banned one of the maps. I think it was like Museum or something, or Sturgeon. I forget, because it was like Alpha and Bravo had different Booyah Bomb paint. Strangely enough, it was really weird. And yeah, okay, so Booyah Bomb paints correctly now, which is good. And finally, getting into Ultra Stamp. This is a big one. In terms of balance changes, Ultra Stamp is clearly like the winner here. They actually remembered to make it a special in this game with the amount of bug fixes they had to do with this, because there have been a million clips online of Ultra Stamp failing to work in every conceivable way and just being outright terrible. So it seems like they tried to fix that. I want to go through all of those, which is a lot. Fix an issue where Stamp would not block enemy bombs' blast waves. Again, protection not working. Fix an issue where Ultra Stamp would not block fully charged shots from a charger. Again, protection not working on the front of Stamp. Fix an issue with repeated stamping. There would be moments in which direct attacks could not deal damage to the opponent. Dead zoning point blank. Gets you killed. Good. Fix an issue that would prevent Ultra Stamp's repeated stamp attack from properly inking the ground. Doesn't paint correctly. Good change. Fix an issue that allowed the Ultra Stamp's repeated stamping attack to deal damage to enemies on the other side of thin walls. Would that technically be a nerf? I don't know. Stamp's so terrible in the current state that, like, sure, I don't even care. Just, it's fine. Fix an issue where Ultra Stamp's mid-air spending attack and not deal damage to opponents on the ground. You saw a ton of clips of that on Twitter, because if you compared from 2 to 3, you would repeat the same thing that existed in 2 to kill people like that when you do, like, the jump swing. And it wouldn't work in 3. That's really good. That's good. Fix an issue hitting terrain at the instant when the Ultra Stamp is thrown will cause an explosion in a different location where it hits. So, like, desync on the throw, I guess. Fix an issue with the Ultra Stamp thrower aimed at an opponent on iron grating would deal direct damage even if hitting on the backside. That one I haven't seen, so is it like the case of, if I throw the stamp under the grating and they're standing on top of it, I guess it would kill them. Interesting. That's weird. I've never experienced that. Fixed an issue, yeah, Ultra Stamp got a lot of bug fixes, basically, which is really good. On a personal level, that makes me want to play Mini Splatling, because Mini Splatling, you know, with Burst Bomb's amazing, and I like Mini as a main weapon, but Stamp was, like, that unplayable. But with these changes, it should actually be usable. I still don't love Stamp on Mini, and I think Stamp is probably not going to be one of the stronger specials still. But it should function at the least, and Stamp has cheap costs across the board for everything. So 180 on Mini is like crazy. Like, you can just get so many of those in one game, so I'm very curious to play that. Fix an issue. Trizuka. Okay, just like hitting through walls. Sure. Killer Rail bugginess. Wavebreaker. I think this is, I've talked about this on stream. I think it's basically if you put Wavebreaker in certain positions, it would be invisible on the opponent's screen. I think they're fixing that, so that's fine. Fix an issue where a tactical activating at the same amount of previous one disappears but cause both to disappear. Yeah, because you can charge before the first one disappears, so I guess that was a bug. Yeah, and then just weird, like, cooler, you know, bugginess. I've seen people get out of bounds on, like, Museum and Hammerhead with that, so that's good. Tactical or bug being fixed. Tactical or bug. This one's weird. I saw a Twitter post trying to help new players where it was talking about, like, oh yeah, comeback procs if you fall off the map. Apparently that was a bug. I thought that was, like, legitimately a buff that they did, but no, that was a bug, because it never worked that way in Splatoon 2. You would have to, like, die to activate comeback. But before this patch, if you fell off the map, it counted, so technically comeback nerf, that's weird to me. Difficulty seeing zone, sure. Adjusted Rainmaker, so if the player is spotted right at the moment they place the Rainmaker at the goal, the point will be 1. I think it's 2 right now, so that's good. I thought it was weird it was 2. What else? Fix that issue and clap its vertical was pasted on the basket, it would disappear. Weird. Fix an issue and clap its overtime would be entered when the time limit is reached, even if the team with the lower score has no existing power comps. I've seen this one, and I did not understand it, so it was actually just a bug. That's weird. Yeah, I was wondering, like, I've had games like that where I'm like, why are they getting overtime? They don't have any resources. This explains that. So no more of that. Out of bounds thing on Scorch, sure. Remove the box on top of the gradient undertow. Weird. I guess it was just buggy. What else? This one's a pretty big note. Honestly, I feel like notes like this should be a little bit separate because it says that they changed the route of the tower completely in Hagglefish. I'm very curious about that. They adjusted the route of the tower. It's not TC2, really. Huh. Okay. Is there anything else major in here? I want to double check. That kind of seems to be it. That's major. Yeah, seems like it. Salmon Run, just a bunch of bug fixes. I play a ton of Salmon Run, but you know, I don't need. The big one here I notice is like they put at the top. It's easier to revive people because the hitbox is smaller than intended, and I found that weird because I was talking with a friend who's played a ton of Salmon, and they were saying it's been nerfed like heavily since 2. So I guess you know this will probably put it back at the state it was in 2 in the first place. So that's good. Reducing egg lag, umbrella not going into the sky. That's good. General bug fixes, Kohozuna not jumping on top of the stick and like going out of bounds and shoving you out of bounds, stuff like that. Launch Umbrella wouldn't activate a Gusher. That's weird. Yeah, this one I experienced where the Mudmouth like spawns on top of you. That's pretty funny. I guess it just like shoves you out correctly now. Fix an issue where players will not get their badge upon arriving at X-ray but max hazard level. I had this. I had to beat hazard level max multiple times to get my badge. It's really weird. I was wondering, so I got that was a bug as well. Hitting certain buttons at the reward pick would have crashed that game. That's hilarious. Story mode, I beat story mode, but it's probably bug fixes, I'm assuming. I don't know if any of this affects the speedrun. I haven't even looked at the speedrun yet. Punch bug getting patched. Other miscellaneous fixes. And yeah, that's the entire patch. So honestly, like, quick review. I know some people find this patch underwhelming. Personally, I'm a big fan of it. I think I'd rather have a smaller amount of changes if I agree with all of them, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want any weapon to, like, get its power level, like, nerfed to the ground. I think the minor changes that they did this patch are all positive. Like, Machine still has the same strengths, it just has a little less booyah, it has a little less fizzy spam. Missile I still think needs, like, kind of a full rework, to be quite honest, but I don't expect a massive thing like that in the first patch, so I think this is kind of like their band-aid of, like, yes, we know you hate Missile. We'll nerf the, 2 of the 3 weapons that are really common and seeing a ton of play that, spam paint and all that. That's fine. I like this patch, personally. I think it's good. I'll definitely be playing it, streaming it. Expect a lot of mini in the first few days when that comes out. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. A little text there. Hope you have a great day. I'm trying to do this in one take unedited because I don't want to overdo it, so yeah, I'll see you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.